Hey y'all, Tyborg here. I'm going to be starting a series of videos about the damage system in Thrill to Fight 2. Sort of helper explainer videos to go over some of the mechanics, how they work, what you can do about them. Not going to judge good or bad. I have a video about that already, you can go back and watch. But just so you know what you're dealing with and what's getting you knocked down and how to get more knockdowns yourself. So the topic of this video is move in. What that is that in Thrill to Fight 2, there's always been some bonus for hitting someone who's moving in towards your punch, where their head velocity is coming towards your punch velocity, and a penalty if it's the opposite, if they're moving away from your punch, which makes sense because in boxing, they talk about rolling with the punch, which actually takes some of the force out of it if you're moving away with your head as the punch is coming in. So the game was modeling that. Starting in the last damage version, they gave a bigger bonus to that, and they also gave some protection where it was impossible actually to get knocked down from a single punch, and very hard to get stunned from a single punch if you were detected moving away instead of into the punch. In the new damage version, in the patch notes they said that they reduced that move-in bonus, but I think it's still very important. I've played a lot of matches now, probably 15, 20 on the new damage system, and almost all of the knockdowns that I'm either receiving or giving are when someone is moving into the punch. So I think that bonus is still having an outsized impact versus the actual base damage of the punch. So what that means is that you want to be very, very careful not to move into a punch. It may sound obvious, but it may not be as obvious how you do that. How do I not move into a punch? So I've been playing around a little bit the last couple of matches, trying to be really cognizant of my head movement, and I think there are some tips I can give. So the first thing is, most of my knockdowns I have long reach, and I like to fight at range. So most of my knockdowns come on a counter where I either throw a cross on someone who's coming in at me, or I kind of duck down into an overhand around their punch, around their guard, and land, and it drops them. So the biggest thing I caution people against is be careful about your forward movement when you're trying to close the distance. So a lot of people will just and just kind of like come in with 4 or 5 punches from distance. And remember, with the lag, you may be seeing yourself hit your opponent, but it may not be counting if you're not getting those grunts and those crouches. So be aware, if you're coming in like that, you may be landing kind of hard, but if your opponent's backing up, you're not going to get that knockdown. But as soon as they plant and fire back, if that lands, they're getting that move-in bonus. You're going to be the one that gets dropped. So be really careful how you're closing that distance. Try to come in with feints, jabs, jab your way in, and then, close the whole distance very quickly if you want to be an inside fighter, and then start throwing those tight hooks and stuff. Don't just kind of plod forward in a line, because then you're going to get clocked. Second sort of thing I want to talk about is on the inside. Once you are inside, so I hate being on the inside because I'm tall, and a lot of people like to fight where you're kind of phasing into each other. I can't even find them. There are a lot of short punches, which I've demonstrated in my other video, that are not real punches that people are throwing, that can do knockdown power. Like this little thing. And see, that can be thrown from super duper close while you're head to head. And the thing that I'm getting caught with is in the clinch, I like to try to circle my way out to get an angle and then back out. But if I'm circling and they throw that little thing across the body, this little thing, I'm gonna be circling into that. And I don't have time to react to it because it's not thrown with the long trajectory of like a real, even if you're in tight, this has a little time to react, not a lot, but this thing doesn't. So what I'm finding where I'm a little bit safer is once I'm in that clinch, either just work stationary, which I don't like to do because I'll get pieced up by these people with shorter arms that are bop, 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 or just go into the clinch, let it happen, A lot of times you won't get blamed if they close the distance really fast and ran into you and then you just move a step in, or just a really quick step back to make space and then try to throw a counter, and then pivot or circle, create that angle after creating space. Don't try to create the angle while you're in close, because you just can't see this little fast stuff coming across at you. It's not possible, it's not gonna happen. So be really careful about that. Even at distance, be careful about circling, because what will catch you, I've been caught a few times already, is a lot of people throw these wide swinging hooks. And so if you're back and you're just circling, and the guard is pretty questionable in the game, and you get your hand up, you're answering the phone, you think you're good, and it says it got through, you're dead. So just be aware of those. Try not to block too much. Use that as your last resort. Still get your hands up to block, but roll under hooks or just take a quick lean back to make them miss short, because that movement will get you. So there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah. Last thing I wanted to talk about with move-in, maybe the most important, for me at least, because it's the bad habit I need to break that's catching me, is when I've seen other people's footage, when I look at my own, there's a lot of reaching. So it's a bad habit, but if your feet are not in position and you really want to hit somebody, instead of getting your feet into position, a lot of times you're just gonna reach. You're gonna throw that punch and your body's gonna go way over your front foot. But if you notice, what does that do to your head? Brings it forward, way forward, right? So if I'm throwing across and I'm not reaching and my opponent's in a spot where I can land, my head actually isn't going forward, right? It's just turning slightly and maybe even coming back at the end of the punch. So there, if I'm sort of dodge, throw the cross, even if I get caught there, say a hook comes in, whatever, I'm probably not going to get knocked down from a movement bonus. But if I'm like, and I'm doing that big lunging forward, that's where you're going to get caught and knocked down. So be very careful to watch out for that. Don't be reaching. Be patient. Get your feet into position first, right? That means you're going to have to put yourself into danger. The reason that this lunging thing is what you want to do, or what I want to do, is because you feel like, oh, I don't have to get myself into danger. I'm out here where it's safe. Let me just throw from way back here. But you're actually making yourself more in danger, because your head still has to travel into range as you throw that punch. So really you just need to keep your balance, keep your weight distributed across both feet, and then throw without swinging your head all around. So that's really all I've got for move in. I think that if you're cognizant of all those things, you're careful about all those things, you can limit the amount of knockdowns you take in this version. It's still super duper knockdown heavy. You're gonna get knocked down by some random punches. There's nothing you can do about it. But you can limit it by being careful. So take this advice, go kick some virtual butt, and see y'all next time.